Madam Deputy Prime Minister, it is good to have you also with us today. We're grateful to you for making the time, especially on your birthday, to be with us. But your birthday comes at an epic time for women and for Africa. And I should say that you are the Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia, and you are the Minister of International Relations, and you have also been Namibian Minister of Women's Affairs during the Windhoek Declaration meeting in 2000, which is something that we want to discuss with you. So, starting there, Madam Diop, would you please say something about why you think it's appropriate to have this conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister at this point?
Thank you so much, Tammy and AllAfrica, for introducing this topic and making sure that I have a conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia, and which I call my dear sister, which I want to celebrate her birthday today. So, which is for us an important day because it's anniversary of 1325, and I'm sure that she will talk about why this resolution is born in the soil of Namibia, the soil of Africa. So 1325 is important to us as an activist, but also as a women's special envoy on the continent on women, peace, and security of the African Union. My day of activism has been in peace and security, and even before 1325, we have been in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, in all countries of conflict to make sure the voice of the women are being heard. So you can see that it's important, and we were part of really making sure that we have that resolution, the landmark resolution for which Africa is also celebrating, because as he said, it's also part of us because Africa have experienced a lot of conflict, and we need more than any other body this mechanism, which is making sure that women's rights are protected, and they are participating in peace negotiation. So those are things that are very important, Tammy, for us. And I'm sure that Deputy Prime Minister, Madame Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, will be able to, tell us why also this 1325 is an African instrument, Tammy. One of the women that we look at as one of the women that we look at as a model. As I always said, it's a model because we don't have many women leaders at the position where you are, and we need many of you to make sure that where you sit, you can promote the rights of women, and you have been all your life being the symbol for us, that the one that promotes women's rights, not just in Namibia, but in the continent. So I'm very happy to have you today, because this is the anniversary where we need to talk and remind ourselves why 1325 is important to the world. Yes.
Can I come in? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Diop, and our facilitator there. I fully agree with you. First of all, women of Africa, women of the world, they have been always connecting peace and development. I'm saying this because I like to look at the issues from the basics. When you look at what is happening at home, there are a lot of conflicts within the families, with particular reference among the young ones, the children.
Yes.
And you see how the mothers have been maintaining and make sure that that conflict between siblings are managed.
Yes.
You realize that whenever there is a conflict at the household level, the fathers, they are likely to say, go to your mother.
Yes.
And then the mother will do everything possible and then bring peace. That same skills, that same inbuilt in the women, we felt for a long time that it must be brought into the public life.
Yes.
Because otherwise, failure to do that, conflict will continue, and any regarded a peace cannot be sustained. It's true, before Resolution 1325, women have been engaged. You mentioned Liberia. You remember also in Rwanda, the first foreign minister of women of Rwanda, a young lady, may her soul rest in peace, Inyumba. She talked to some of us. Mema Mongela was there.
Yes.
And was concerned about the peace in her country.
Yeah.
Women of Africa worked together under very difficult conditions. We held a conference on women and peace in Rwanda.
Yes.
And that also was followed
Yes.
by now organizing African women who went to Liberia.
Yeah.
Now, when Namibia, we were celebrating the 10th anniversary of UNTAG, is when we organized that workshop, which was talking about mainstreaming gender into the whole peace process. And really, we did this based on our experience. Our independence came through the liberation struggle, but there were negotiations which were involved, and women participated in that. I can mention about our first Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Albertina Madila. She was part of our negotiation team. When we went to Geneva for the pre-implementation talks, I was also in that delegation, and many others. And that taught us that women can play a role.
Yeah.
So they cannot just be seen as victims, but they must play a role. So, and that is really what has led us to come where we are.
Yes.
And you remember when Resolution 1325 was being assessed on the initiative of the Secretary General, the impact was so obvious. But because it's not fully embraced, we are still far to reach where we want to reach.
Yes.
But definitely we have learned that where women are involved, you have progress has been seen and more sustained because of that traditional skill that women are having in solving conflict. Conflict is just a conflict.
Yes.
Of course, it has levels, but it's a conflict. And that's very important for people to note.
Yeah. Okay. I think, Deputy Prime Minister, it's what you have said rightly, that women have the experience, have the talents, have the wisdom to resolve, to be part of resolving the conflict in the, not just at home, but at the highest level. And I think I do agree with you that, you know, our fight to have women leadership, you mentioned why now we can see Namibia being the one that started to bring that resolution on birth. But because there were women at the right place, you say there was women even in the negotiation in Geneva. I recall also, as you said, Rwanda, which have experienced genocide, and we have seen women as victim of conflict, victim, which we say not just victim but survivors, but now even actors of peace as well. So really, I think that your argument to say that women have the talent, women should be there, and women are making a contribution. Those are facts. The data have shown it. Now, what we are looking at is how do we multiply it? How do we make sure that we have more women at that position and more women at the table of negotiation? I'm sure that Namibia is also working on such kind of initiative of action that can help Africa, because you are a model as well. I always say that Namibia, in terms of percentage of women leadership, Rwanda is there, Namibia is there, my country, Senegal, in parliament have almost 50%. But I know that you are in actions. You like actions. And this is what, when it comes to military, when it comes to training. So really, I think that you are engaged in action to implement 1325. Madam DPN.
Yes, I agree that women in position of leadership have a role to play. We are part of the global village. And within multilateralism, we have to strengthen what can be done at the national level. I'm saying strengthen what can be done at the national level because multilateralism instruments are just like the laws that we are having in our countries. Even if you have best laws in your countries and the citizens of the countries have not bought into those laws, they do not agree and they are not ready to implement, it will be very difficult. You might end up having many people in prison, but having laws is not to have many people in prison, but rather to have a better managed society. Now, one is looking at institutions like regional institutions, starting with sub-regional like SADC, ECOWAS, all the African regional communities.
Yes.
And then you come to continental, and then you come now to the global. All these bodies, they are agreeing on instruments to be followed.
Yes.
But the political will at the national level is very important because all international instruments are implemented at the national level.
Yes.
And that is where we have to strengthen or we have to focus. How do we as women, how do we as those advocates, both men and women, on the issue of women, peace and security agenda, they can be linking up with national governments,
yes,
in order to ensure a political will at the highest level.
Yes.
Because that's the only way international instruments
Yes.
can be implemented.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will be going for conferences, reaffirm this, but
Yes.
when you go home, business
Yes.
as usual. So
Yes.
we are not going to solve a problem. So we need to find a way of linking up with national governments
Yes.
and be closer to them. Let
Yes.
them buy in so
Yes.
that we see both men and women getting involved in the whole issue of gender and peace and development.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you really by highlighting the fact that we are part of the global village and we need to think globally but act locally. And that's what I really appreciate in what you have said. And we all need to work at different level, but we, at the end of the day, we be at the local level. And, when I was mandated as the special envoy, the first country that came, and it's really my sister who came to on solidarity to my office was you. You deploy military in my office, and which have been doing great since then. When I started, we had 13 national action plan in Africa, 17. 17. But now we have 30 countries that have adopted National Action Plan, Deputy Prime Minister, 30. But it's not enough. I have the Peace and Security Council have adopted the result-based framework, which is for accountability to measure progress. Because if we don't measure the implementation, we might still have, just have it as a document, but not implementing it. But I know for a fact that Namibia is going deep down to implementation. I know that next week also you will be, I have seen the military that you deploy, not in my office, but in the terrain, and female military. The one you deploy in my office was a female military. So those are the real act that we want our member state to do. That respect, making sure that our peacekeeping have female peacekeepers, but also centers of excellence. I know that next week you will be launching. So I think it will be good for us to see those actions. I know that you are doing quietly, but you are doing tremendous work in the Namibia context. So I really want you maybe to share those actions that you are doing at national level.
Yes, when we started to develop our national action plan, the whole process was led by the Ministry of Defense. The Ministry of Gender Equality and Child Welfare, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Police, and the Ministry of International Relations were like supporting bodies. But the lead ministry was the Ministry of Defense. We did that because the Ministry of Defense had personnel who were experienced on peacekeeping operations. But then it was also a way of sensitizing the whole country to understand that when you talk about women, you are talking about women and peace, and these are the peacemakers. So that process was completed until they launched it, and up to now, the Ministry of Defense is part of the team, of the implementation team. Yes, day after tomorrow, which is the 31st October, we are going to launch our International Women Peace Center. And the people who are going to be the initial staff of this center, some of them are drawn from the Ministry of Defense.
Yes.
And that is really to ensure that sustainability.
Yes.
And we are not only talking about in this program, but we want also to be expanded. I must say that we have also shot in terms of military officers at the high level in our Ministry of Defense or the Namibian Defense Force. But we are really advocating for a number to be increased. Recently, I think 2 weeks ago, I was happy when I was informed that one of our military attaché to be sent outside, because like any other country, we have military attachés in different countries, depends on what are the requirements. But I was happy to be informed that one of our colleagues who has been very active in this whole process for a long time, she will now be deployed as one of the military attaché in one of our countries where we have bilateral relations. And we are looking forward to have more. I know she was not the first. We had one who was attached in South Africa, but we want to have more of them because that's the capacity that we want. It's the mainstream at all levels. And we are saying we don't want to leave men out. what we are looking at is a balance. But
Yes.
at the level where we are, we have to focus on women, because we have not yet reached the level where we can just be talking about balancing. So
Yeah.
that's why the whole issue of women, peace and security agenda has to come in. When we reach the stage where we say now we are okay, then we are talking about peace and security agenda for development, which
Yes.
we know is going to be sustained.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you for linking peace and security and development. But let me just emphasize, as you talk about the regional economic communities, that certainly the experience of Namibia and some of the challenges that, now that we know SADC have a regional action plan, and there are still some countries that need national action plan. Namibia can, share your experience with the other member states on the inclusivity, because I think that the way you develop your national action plan was to make sure that everybody is included, but also that is part and parcel of the development agenda of Namibia. I think we cannot look at development unless we have the nexus between peace. If they have peace, security, stability, so we will go to the development side. But for that, you need also that the human rights of the people, including the right of the women, be also part and parcel of it. So, so it brings me to the issue. Maybe we have to discuss violence against women. During this COVID-19, it has been, of course, exacerbated because the lockdown, you started by family where violence would start and women being the mediator. But it's not just an African phenomenon. You and women have called it, the silence epidemic as well. So Africa is struggling with that as well, even though we have some laws. How do we make sure that we address that? Is it through bringing traditional, or is it in the schools? I think that, your passion for the young people. I was in Namibia not last year when the young people came to visit you and to say, we need to sit down with you for you to mentor us and for you to tell us. You are mentoring, but tell us your story. We need to take it everywhere in Namibia. So just the violence, how are we going to tackle it? Each one of us on this area of the pandemic.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we are also experiencing the violence in Namibia. The past 3 weeks or so, the things have not been so good. And it's both gender-based violence, but it's also violence in general.
Yes.
I'm saying this because you have a situation where a mother can do something terrible to her own child.
Yeah.
I remember last week when we were in one meeting, I think it was a meeting of foreign ministers of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
We were discussing the impact of the COVID in general.
Yeah.
And though there was no complete study made, there was a feeling that this lockdown might have some impact in the mental health of some people. And we have to understand, when we talk about mental health, we are not saying people are mad. It's not madness. It's not that people are crazy. It's just something terrible has disturbed their mind for something dramatic could have just happened.
Yeah.
Now it's a challenge, but we have to address it.
Yes.
First of all, we need to have a focused approach. We have to have a focused approach, not just to put everything together, that in the process it can create confusion, because you might want to solve a problem, but if your approach is creating some other tension, you end up not achieve what you want to achieve. So that's why in solving any problem, you should try to find a consensus within the community, within the society. But if you impose because you feel that you have that power to do it, it will just be a problem solved for a short period. But then you'll be sitting on the time bomb. So I really feel that the where we are now, we really need to be very sober. You see, Diop, I say to myself, human being is at pain with ourselves. We are really the ones, we are destroying ourselves. Some of the things that we are doing is aiming to self-destruction. We are angry with ourselves. And of course, we know people have their rights, but nothing can be absolute. Things need to be guided. If we are just emphasizing on rights and rights and rights, where does now the responsibility starts? Because we have emphasis on rights, but very little said about responsibility. And you cannot just think of yourself as an individual. You have to think of the community and the society in which you are operating. So for me, really, any problem one is facing, I will not say everybody to agree, but some level of consensus, some level of understanding, is very, very important. But
No,
if you just get something and you are in, then you are heading for a problem that might come when you are not there. You are creating a problem for others, because your time will come when nature takes its course. So that is really, we are in a very serious problem: gender-based violence, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, sexual violence. But all these things need to be looked into holistically and find a way to address
to be focused.
You mentioned culture. I'm a cultural person, because I say I like to believe, I believe on the basics. What you have, you must build on it. And don't just throw it away. That's why they say a nation without a culture is not a nation.
You know what's really
I don't know what's your take on that.
No, I do agree with you. That's when you say, Africa is part of the world, but we still have some of our specificity. When you look at the Universal Declaration for Human Rights, but when our fathers have been drafting the African Charter, they call it the African Charter on Humans and People's Rights.
You see?
Because they knew that you cannot look at the right of an individual without taking care of the right of the community. So that was the thinking behind. I was very young when I joined that team that was drafting the charter at the time of Kebambe. That was my first coming to this world, was to be assisting them. And the thinking of our father who drafted the charter, the African Charter on Human Rights, which are our basis on our values. We are looking into our own culture. So you can, when you are raising your child, that child is also the child of your sister. It's a child of the neighbor. If you are not there, the child will be raised by your neighbor. So we have that commonality that we need to, is a country, it's a world where we have to take care of the approach, which is the community, all of us to agree and have a consensus. So that's why I do agree with you that we still have to look at our culture, what is good in the culture. There are good things, there are bad things. We need to make sure that we find the bad thing, but we go on our way to make sure that we use, for example, the Ubuntu, that we all know, the reconciliation process that you did in the Namibia. You give and take. You give and take, because this is it. You have to sit down and disagree and agree for the people and for the well-being of the community. So that's why I think that also the issue that, our experience is a long psychological trauma, and we need to make sure while we are advancing to address some of those issues of our trauma that Africa have been. But right now, what I see is the young people are impatient. They wanted also to be co-leading with us already. But maybe we need to look at how the digital, the social media is coming. How do we make sure that it's not going to exacerbate our conflict and our division as leader of the continent by co-leading? Make sure that also we help them to understand our experience. Our experience, they need to know it. And I like when you are sitting and telling them where you come from. You fought for your right. You fought to be there. You fought to, and giving them that experience for the young people and the young women as well. So I think this conversation is so good and so lively. At the end of the day, when we look at the developmental agenda, right now, COVID is ruining some of our economy. But Africa is also rich, because I really think that beyond peace, security, we need to make sure that we embrace that development. And your vision to say, let's prioritize. Let's look into where we need to bring our resources and build the capacity of our people. Maybe we can touch on that. It's a development agenda. I know how much you are working on that as well as a leader of this. You have been the forefront of Agenda 2063 in the continent, to say we need to look in the 50 years to come. How are we going to develop this continent? And that is what we need to give to our young people, to say, this is where we need to be in the 50 years to come.
Yeah, let me start at the point of our young people.
Yes.
It's true, the African Charter, I can also maybe refer to the African Charter on the Child.
Yes, exactly.
Where the African leaders, they made it clear whereby they put the central role of parents in the upbringing of the children.
Yes.
Now, our young people are what we are making them. They are not making this themselves.
Yes.
It's us who are making them.
Yes.
The statements the young people, they read when they are in this forest, they are written by elderly people.
Yes.
A child of 7 years reading a statement written by an elderly, those are not the words of a young person.
Yeah.
Those are the words of a grown-up person. And these are the things, the mentality this child will grow.
Yeah.
I like to be open on this. You remember during the last year General Assembly, we have a forum for the youth.
Yeah.
And you have a young person, maybe 12 or whatever age, addressing the General Assembly, where you have heads of states in the African tradition to sit there and say, you, pointing a finger, you, what the hell are you? You are destroying the environment. Honestly, honestly, what type of a youth are we building? And I'm not blaming the young person. I felt so bad, but I know she was reading a statement prepared by an elderly. And that was the day I say, as human beings, we are on the cross side to destroy ourselves. Because if you can allow an elder person to prepare a statement for a young person to address the elder people to say, what the hell are you?
Yes.
What is that the youth are building? The youth are okay. The problem is us what we are putting them.
Yeah.
Now it's true we are in the order of technology.
Yes.
Who is feeding technology with all these things? It's the elderly people. If the elderly people want to stop, and I'm not talking about Africa, I'm just talking about every elderly human being. If they want to stop and say, no, we are really on the cross side to destroy human being, and let us put on reverse, things will be different. That is the biggest problem. Now with development, Africa Agenda 2063, when you look at it.
So I think just I agree with what you said before with the young people. You just, the parents have a role to play with the digital. Of course, the social media sometimes is so they are the bad of it and the good of it, because the good of it is can accelerate education, it can accelerate a lot of things, but you are right, we need to control the message that we are giving to the children. Otherwise, we are going to the wrong side. The control, the system that need to be put in place, even within the social media. Our daughters and granddaughters are accessing information that are so badly, that are circulating, that we need to make sure that there are rules and regulations that can control those messages, so the young people not be exposed to pornography, to all sorts of things that are happening. So we need, of course, to use digital to be in the global village, to make sure that education, you reach information. You have a lot of books behind you. Now, in 1 minute, you can access it in, so our children can read it. But in the meantime, prevent them from accessing the bad thing that is happening in there. And this is the family issue, is how we raise, we parents, we need to be very cautious with our children as well. So the development side, Madam Deputy Prime Minister.
Yeah, the development side, you remember when the Agenda 2063 was adopted?
Yes.
And then we have the 10 or 12 flagship project. But immediately there was also a year of the youth that was declared, I mean a decade. And Africa was very clear that we really need to invest on the youth if we can realize Agenda 2063. And the area of education and training was emphasized. The area of health was emphasized. And as part of the training, entrepreneurship. So Africa really needs to invest on this, so that we can have the young people to be innovative. And I'm telling you, if we make our young people strengthen their capacity, even some of the evils which are in the social media, they will not have time to look at that, because they'll be busy. Now, if there's nothing for them to do, if they are not empowered to think positively, that is where they will become addict to the black side of the social media. So the development to be sustained, it really needs the necessary skills, and we have to invest on the youth, both men, boys and girls. There you have now to bring in the whole issue of mainstreaming gender in development. And we have also to see that whatever we are doing, the focus should be looking at the future as to what Africa do we want? The world that we want. It's also part of the sustainable development goals. But the emphasis is to invest on the young people. What we impact to the young people today is what will bring about sustainable development. But if we are just on the rights, and no responsibility, you cannot develop a nation with rights. You can develop with responsibility.
Yes.
People must have responsibility towards themselves, towards their community, to make sure that the livelihood of themselves and the others around them is improved on. And Africa, we have to look at what we have. For example, there's a decision to say at least, I think 10 or 15% of Africa's natural resources should not leave the continent unprocessed.
Yeah.
Because we realize that why young people of African are sacrificing, risking their lives, they are basically looking for their jobs, which we are transporting to other continents.
Yes.
When the African raw materials, they go out unprocessed.
Yeah.
But once we do that, they will be busy and they cannot be diverted by whatever you find on the internet.
Yes.
So we really need to invest on our young people. We need to develop their capacities so that they are busy. They are busy strategizing. They are busy innovating. And there will be no time to be just on the internet and on the social media. I know I'm one of the weak person maybe when it comes to social media, in the sense that I only look at my WhatsApps when I'm finished with the work of the day, because the way it is overloaded. If you are just what else can you do? Which can make you to progress.
Yes, exactly.
So this is really, we must empower our young people, our youth, to be busy in a most positive way. And that way, we can talk about developing Africa. We are talking about world development.
So I think that's, even if we, this conversation can so much continue because you are passionate with what you say, the industrialization of our continent, which should be a priority to make sure that we provide job, and they provide themselves job, because when they have they set up their company, or they will be able also to employ young people as well. And the resources that in the continent, we have tremendous resources. We mobilize them and they remain to Africa, so we can transform our raw material. And I'm really glad for two things that as leader of Africa you have done. One is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. When I look at West Africa, the border, if it is implemented really, and we need to push for that, that we can do trade among ourselves, and young people can do trade among ourselves. I see the Mama Bens are women that are doing traders in West Africa, and sometimes they have so many barriers, trade barriers, custom barriers and so on. So the Africa Free Trade, so Africa can trade among ourselves, will be a great open market in terms of the industrialization. Agriculture is another one, and the women are in that sector, majority. And how do we provide them with the necessary access to land, access to all other things that the women to be, and what the other thing you did this year, and it was really came from the South Africa and the Ghana and all of you to say, let's the 10 year to come as an inclusive year for economic empowerment for women. So I think that if it translated, not just a paper, but we do funding at local level, at national level, making sure that women access to credit, access to bank, access to, and the young people, I think that it will be another milestone, going beyond peace and security, but reaching to the economic empowerment. So I think that I do agree. I don't know where are we going to disagree, you and me, because it's Tammy. I don't know when I'm going to disagree with her, but it linked me to my campaign. She leads peace. She's one of the icons that lead peace, because she's not just looking into peace, security, but the well-being of our people and the development of our continent. So I always look at her when I, at the African Union as one of the great leaders of this continent, and Namibia is leading. So, Tammy?
Well, Madam Diop, Madam Nandi-Ndaitwah, this has been a wonderful conversation. It feels like only a beginning of the many issues that
Yes.
we should discuss in the year to come. But
Yes.
I'm so grateful for both of you for devoting the time, and we will continue the conversation. And thank you so much, and happy birthday again.
Thank you very much, Tam. Thank you very much, Benda. We can disagree one day maybe, but for the better for Africa, for the better for human beings.
Yes,
I think that's really the most important. And how many years we have been working together.
Together, yes.
And I'm sure we'll continue to work together.
Each.
We are in this planet and we need to live in harmony. Maybe
Yeah.
next time we are going to look at the environment itself,
Yes.
the nature.
The nature.
I think
Yes.
climate change and gender has to come in. The protection of the biodiversity. Maybe
Yes.
it could be another area where we need to have a discussion. You know
Yes.
also how it's dear to my heart. Just
Yes.
as of course, first is women empowerment,
Yes.
women advancement, the youth, but then the protection of the environment, because we must protect our ecosystem for it to take care of us. Maybe that will be the next agenda we can have a discussion on, and our biodiversity and access genetical resources. And that's why I put attention to Nagoya Protocol on access and benefit to our genetical resources, because we need it for development.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Tammy,
you.
you have a lot in your plate, and we shall continue this conversation. It's just the beginning. Thank you.
It's just the beginning.
Deputy Prime Minister,
and
thank you.
Please, the Women's Center is opening on Saturday.
Yes.
It is going to be virtual. We are going to give you the link. Tina, we can give you the link so that you just see it.
Yes.
Of course, we are not expecting many people. We are still on the COVID.
Yes.
And I don't want to bring though we are in the number of 200 allowed.
Yes.
I don't want to bring so many people, and we don't want to keep them for a long time. But the center will be launched.
Yeah. No, that's a magnifique experience, and it is going to be publicized within the campaign that I'm doing this year. She Lead Peace, and the Centers of Excellence is one of the great achievements that we're going to show. So, Tammy,
and thank you for the good wishes for the birthday.
Thank you.
I really appreciate every single word.
Thank you, Madam DPM. Thank you,
Madam. Thank you. Goodbye. Peace.
Tammy, thank you so much. We shall connect, right, Tammy?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. So, Tammy, good day. I took all your day today, and I knew that it was, I forced both of them to be with us. Netumbo, she's always available, but today was, and the family needed her, but it was good to have her. So let's continue. I'm sure that the November meeting, you will cover it, and let me know if we need to continue this kind of conversation. I can bring people like Madam Zuma. I can pursue also people like Mary Robinson and others. So just but I wanted this day, 29, to make sure that we have this conversation. Thank you.
I think the two conversations were both wonderful. I hope you're pleased with them. I think they were enlightening and informative, and they will be for many people. And also, we'd like to continue with all those people you've mentioned. And also, I hope during the next 6 months, 12 months, to bring in some young voices for you to discuss with, some young leaders, community leaders.
No, that's it. You can see that it's important. You can see in our conversation is important. In both conversation, the issue of young people, how do we interact? How do we co-lead with them? What are the issue? Why they are hungry with us? Why they, they are eager to get job. They are eager to take the seat. They are eager. So why and how can we understand them better and for them to understand us better? So this is, and in November, maybe we will invite you because we're now starting what we call intergenerational dialogue. We do it with it's hosted by the president of Uhuru of Kenya. We did it last year with Ellen. We went to one of the places nice to retreat in Kenya, and with all the former president and also the young women. We choose something like more than 30 young women, and we sit under the tree, and we interact with them. We are going to have it online this time, but it will be end of November with President Uhuru. So this is the intergenerational dialogue that we are doing, and to try to understand each other and mentoring as well. So we will invite AllAfrica to cover such an event as well. I think it's important.
Yes, you are doing so much. And Juanita, our managing editor, wanted me to pass on her regrets for not being able to join and be part of the conversation. She's a wonderful person, as you will learn over the next year, because she's the new face of AllAfrica, the new generation of leaders, which Amadou Mokhtar Ba and Reed and I are
yes
to have
the founder, the pillars.
we're the founders, but they are the future. So we're happy that they are doing this. She had a pretty bad case of COVID and is recovering well, but had some problems this week and to take over from someone else. So, and
it takes time. It takes time to recover. I have one of my staff as well in Zimbabwe, but she recovers. She's recovering.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Thank God. Thank God. Okay, Tammy. So my office will be in contact to see how they can help you or how you can help them as well on this conversation. How can they, so I think it's going to be great. So they just tell them how they can, Louisa was with us, so how can they use it or how you can use them.
Right. Very good. And so get some sleep and thank you for being the real facilitator of the conversations. It was great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.